Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Computer Applications at Ozarka College. In this video, what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of feedback on the Word Module 3 activities that I finished grading last week, and then also give you some feedback on the Word Production exam that I finished grading yesterday. And then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due for Excel Module 1 early next week. Alright, so the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the Word Module 3 activities. Remember, in that module you were learning how to complete a letterhead with a letter and how to format it correctly. You were also asked to format smart art graphics and so forth, do some editing on that. So, like I said, most of you did well on those activities or those assignments, so keep up the good work on that. If you, after reading the grading comments that I left for the Word Module 3 assignments, if you have any questions at all, just let me know, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. But like I said, most of you did well on those assignments, so keep up the good work on that. I appreciate your effort on that. The Word Production exams, I finished grading those yesterday. So I came in Sunday and kind of worked on that a little bit in my office. If you haven't already looked at your grades for the Word Production exam, go ahead and do that as soon as you can, and read the grading comments. If I had to count any points off, I've tried to be very specific on, what formatting you missed, what error was made, and so forth, so that you know exactly, what you should have done to get those points. But like I said, if you do have questions, just let me know. Some of the common errors that I found were just, a lot of the things that I had to count points off for were just simple formatting steps that were overlooked, like just forgetting to, put something in bold or change the font size, or maybe you changed it to the wrong size other than what was specified, those kinds of things. And that really comes down to just making sure you're taking your time and making sure that you're double checking all your steps, all your formatting steps as you go through the instructions on the exam. And so that is easily corrected by just, kind of taking a little bit more time to make sure everything is correct as you go. And then also checking it at the very end as well. The other thing I noticed that a few of you did was some of you, instead of inserting a footnote at the bottom of the flyer, like it said to do in the instructions, some of you instead inserted a footer. Make sure that you understand the difference between a footer and a footnote. If you're not sure about the difference, look it up in your textbook. It does explain both of those, what they are and how to insert those. But like I said, some of you need to kind of study that a little bit more. Make sure that you understand, what a footnote is and how to insert it, and what a footer is and how to insert that as well. All right. But other than that, like I said, most of you did well on the Word Production exam. So I really appreciate the time and effort that you put into that. So keep up the good work on that as well. Just let me know if you have questions about it. All right. Now, that brings us to what we've got coming up due for our next set of activities. So we just took our test in Word, and so we're done with Microsoft Word at least until the final exam. We will be tested on Word again during final exam week. But for right now, our next major program that we're going to learn how to use is Excel. And Excel, I'm sure you've heard of it, even if you haven't used it before. Some of you, I'm sure, have used it in high school or other places. But Excel is basically a program that allows us to keep track of financial information, or dollar amounts, numerical data, and not just keep track of it, but also make calculations based on the data. And basically by using what are called formulas and functions. to gather calculations from the data that are important to us in making decisions. And then also, Excel allows us to create a graphical representation of the data in the worksheet. And so you'll learn how to both create the worksheet and format it, but also how to insert the formulas and functions to get those calculated values that are important to us, and then also how to chart or graph the data that's in the worksheet that's important to us. Okay, so now some things to keep in mind when you're working through the Excel assignments. Make sure that you take your time and that you're following all the instructions. Make sure that you're actually inserting the functions and formulas into the worksheet in order to get the calculated values. It is not acceptable to just type in the calculated values because when we do that, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of using Excel, okay? And being able to quickly update our worksheet with those formulas and functions inserted that automatically recalculates those figures for us instead of us having to use a calculator to do all that by hand every time we make changes to the worksheet. So just make sure that you insert the formulas and functions as specified, because that is a large portion of the grade for the assignment. So if you just type in the calculated values, that's going to be a lot of points counted off. So I just thought I'd kind of point that out. And most of you should be fine, but sometimes I've noticed in previous semesters, sometimes students get in a hurry or they wait too late to get started on the assignments, and then they don't have time to read all the instructions, and they're just looking at what the finished worksheet looks like, and so they just put in the numbers the way it looks in the final worksheet. But I'm going to actually check the formulas and functions, so just kind of keep that in mind. Also check all your formatting carefully on your worksheet. It's going to have you do quite a bit of formatting on the worksheet to make it look more professional. Make sure that you take your time and go through and double check everything, okay? Also remember, there are demonstration videos. Let's click on the Excel Module 1 Assignment 1 here to go to the Excel assignment page. And also make sure that you're carefully reading all the instructions that I've got here for you on the assignment page, okay? It's going to tell you to open up, for example, for assignment 1, it's going to have you open up a blank workbook with the old theme applied, so that it's going to look like your file is going to look like the way it does in the book, because they changed the theme after the book was published. So just little things like that. Also, what I was kind of getting to as well is at the bottom of the assignment page, there are demonstration videos. In these videos, these are videos I did a couple of years ago, but they're still relevant. And basically, they take you step by step through the instructions in the textbook to create the worksheet and format it correctly, insert the formulas and functions, and create the chart, and move it to a separate page. All the things that you need to do to create the Assignment 1 worksheet are demonstrated for you in these videos. So if you're not already making use of the videos, I would highly encourage you to do so, especially if you have found it difficult working through the steps in the textbook on your own. All right? So, and these videos are kind of divided into parts because each one is a little bit too long to put in one video. So I divided them into parts there. But like I said, make use of those videos, especially, like I said, if you're having a hard time working through the steps in the textbook. All right? Now, let's go back to the activities page here. All right. So basically, you'll notice right now we're on week 6 of the semester, and we don't have anything due this week, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be working on the next set of activities. You should be working on the Excel Module 1 activities, which are due early next week, Monday of next week, which is September 29th. So 1 week from today, those Excel Module 1 activities are due. So you've got the assignments 1 through 3, 1, 2, and 3 there, and then you've got the objective test all due by Monday of next week. So don't wait until Monday of next week to get started, because you probably won't get everything done, or at least done correctly. So I would highly encourage you to get started as soon as you can on these Excel activities, and that way you give yourself plenty of time, and then you have time to ask questions if you run into an issue. If you do have questions as you're working through the activities, use that Excel Module 1 help discussion to ask your question. And that way, it'll help other students in the class that may have similar questions. All right? And that's really all I have for you for today. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and I will talk to you again sometime next week. Thank you.